Working with fresh fish is one of the many pleasures of cooking, and in the kitchen it also presents you with the challenge of using proper knife skills. So the recipe I'm doing for you guys today is my fillet of fresh red snapper with some wilted rocket and a lovely paprika and orange reduction. The first thing we need to do is scale our fish. So in this case, I've taken off most of the scales of this beautifully fresh red snapper with the help of this purpose-built super slicing knife from Cartini, the perfect tool for just such a job in the kitchen. I've already done that in advance, just making sure that all of the scales are off. Yeah, there we go, we got one. The next challenge is to fillet it. It's always going to be a little more economical, and you're always going to be guaranteed kind of freshness of the fish if you buy it whole, right? The eyes are nice and clear and protruding, all right? The color of, or rather the sheen on the skin is also quite vibrant, which means this fish is really fresh. So to fillet our snapper, I've got Cartini's precision carving knife. Flexible blade, long so I can get it all the way in to the flesh of the fish, and also really nice and sharp. Let's get down to filleting our snapper. First thing I want to do is make a cut right behind the gills, like so. Not all the way through, but just to the backbone, okay? You can feel the bone against the knife. You just want to cut straight down like that. Also, we've already gutted that fish, which means we've removed the entrails. Now, just from this point along the backbone, you can feel it here. I'm just gonna get that in there and then just start opening up that fish and making sure that the knife is always pressed against the bones of the fish. And then just gently, yeah, start to open it up like so. There we go. Okay, and then just cut all the way through to the base of the skeleton. There we are. Almost there. Okay, so that is done. What I have in my hand is a really beautiful snapper fillet. I'm just going to lay that down, remove our fish. Okay, so this is the belly flap. We don't want that, but it's good for stock. It's good for what we call trimmings. So I'm just gonna get that off. Beautiful. Like so. Simply cut along the base, removing that bit. Next thing I want to do is get rid of some of those pin bones. There are some bones here that we need to kind of extract from the flesh. I'm just going to use the knife, open up some of that fleshy bit, okay, and then just extract those bones. Okay, so that's it. Our fish is filleted and pin boned. I'm going to keep it aside. Now we're going to get down to seasoning our fish, and then we'll quickly put together our orange reduction. After that, we're going to pan fry that beautiful snapper, and then we'll be ready to plate it. Okay, time for us to season our snapper fillet. Because fish is very delicate in flavor, especially red snapper, I'm just going to drizzle it with some extra virgin olive oil. Okay, just massage it in gently. Now the skin already has fish oil, so we don't want to put too much, all right? Turn it over, and now it's time to season the fillet. So crack of pepper, lovely, salt, rasa. You just turn it over and season the other side. Now what we want to do is get down to making our simple paprika and orange reduction. What is a reduction? Well, it's quite simply exactly that. It is a reduction sauce, which means you start with a certain quantity of liquid and then you just reduce it down gently. As it reduces down, it will just intensify in flavor and get nicely kind of concentrated in flavor. I'm going to start with, I would think, a couple of 100 milliliters of orange juice, right, straight out of a Tetra Pak. I'm using packaged orange juice because it has a little higher sugar content, and as it cooks down, it has just the right amount of sweetness to acidity compared with fresh orange juice. Okay, so like I said, 200 mils of the orange juice, some white wine, just a touch, not too much. I would say less than quarter of a glass of the white wine. Now, for some smokiness and a little bit of delicate heat, I'm adding some smoked paprika. And then, of course, some salt to bring out the flavor. I would say 1/4 of a teaspoon for now. It is going to reduce down. So as it reduces, that salt is also going to intensify in flavor. So you want to make sure you don't over season it at this point. Just a crack of pepper. Perfect. Okay, so our paprika and orange reduction is already coming to a boil, and immediately you get that aroma of that smoky paprika coming through. Absolutely delicious, if you ask me. I'm just going to stir it gently, and I'm just going to let it cook away until it's reduced and concentrated in flavor and fairly thick in consistency. So, orange, white wine and paprika reduction is coming along quite nicely. As you can see, it's been simmering away gently for a good 15 odd minutes, and all of that natural sugar has begun to kind of caramelize and thicken our reduction. Okay, I'm going to let it simmer away for just a little while longer, and in the meantime, let's bring back our snapper and let's pan fry it. I don't want too hot a pan for the fish, not too much oil, just a drizzle. If you remember, we've already put some olive oil on our fish. Okay, now my orange reduction is done. I'm going to turn it off to give our sauce a beautiful bit of sheen and depth and flavor. We are going to finish it with a touch of butter, okay? Classic French style. You mount your sauce with butter and generous squeeze of lime. Okay. Beautiful. I'm going to let that butter emulsify, and in the meantime, we can get down to now pan frying our fish. So, snapper, skin side down. So as soon as you add it skin side down, it's going to start to buckle or curl up. So I want to make sure that I kind of keep it slightly weighed down, okay, with the back of a spoon. Okay, that way that entire skin or the entire fillet is going to come in contact with the pan. So just gently, you don't want to be too rough with this fish. Okay, it's a delicate piece of protein. So this fillet is going to take anywhere from 5 to 6 minutes to cook through, and that's the beauty about cooking fish. It really doesn't take long, but what you need to be careful about is not overcooking your fillet. So for flavor and color, just a knob of butter. Look at that, beautiful, okay? And for a little bit of pungency, I'm just going to add a clove of garlic and add it to the pan. And then some of fish's best friend, a little bit of lemon juice to deglaze that pan. Something to turn it over with. Carefully, I'm just going to take it and I am going to flip it over. Look at that, beautiful, okay? Nice golden tinge. What I'm going to do now is just turn off that pan, and I'm going to let that snapper cook through in the residual heat of the pan. Okay, that way you can be sure that you're not going to overcook your fish most of the time. best way to test fish for doneness. At the thickest part, pierce it with a toothpick, and if it goes through without any resistance whatsoever, you know your fish is cooked. Okay, time for us to plate our snapper. Really kind of carefully, we need to let this snapper slide on to our plate. That's our fillet of snapper. Back on again, remaining pan juices, which means all of that lovely fishy flavor is still in there. All right, it's still in there. We don't want to waste it. So very quickly, touch of butter, couple of cherry tomatoes. Okay, I'm just going to slice them like so. Okay, into the pan they go, just for a couple of minutes. Hit them with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, some rocket leaves, all right, in they go as well. That's it, just enough to get that arugula to wilt and those kind of cherry tomatoes to get a bit charred, all right. We're going to turn it off. I've got a little bit of this wine. I'm just adding a little just to deglaze our pan, and that is that. Now we can finish our plating for our snapper. So a little bit of the arugula or rocket, then a cherry tomato like there, and maybe one there as well. Maybe let's put one here, and then this little leaf just somewhere. Now to finish our snapper. Okay, so that's the kind of pouring consistency that we want. And for a contrast of color, just a few drops here and there. That, if you ask me, was really quite easy. And what you get at the end of it is quite honestly a spectacularly nice looking dish, which I'm sure is going to taste incredible as well. And it just goes to show you that with the right kind of tools and a little bit of confidence, you too can turn out restaurant style food with a minimum of fuss. It is really that simple.